So what's up, people, and welcome to the Chapter 15 discussion of 僕らの血盟, or Our Blood Oath. So Chapter 15 came out this past Sunday, and so I will leave a link to that chapter that is currently being shown on the publisher's official North American website, Manga Plus, and they're showing it for at least a few weeks. Now, there has been a change to these chapters. Up till now, the publisher has been showing all of the chapters in the series, all 15 of them. And so you really didn't have to worry too much about them pulling back. But recently, they have started to pull back many of the chapters in between. So you see the first 3 chapters from the series, and then you see the last 3 chapters, 15, 14, and 13. And every time a new chapter comes out, they typically will drop the previous chapter from the last 3. So when 16 comes out, you expect 13 to disappear. So that will probably continue on. So especially now, if you're interested in reading chapter 15, I would do so right away. Okay, so chapter 15. Yeah, chapter 15 was a very interesting chapter. If I was to put my own title onto this chapter, then I would call it the chapter where you introduce everybody sort of chapter. Yeah, so many new characters were introduced in this one that it was like, oh, who are all these people? But that wasn't the only part of the chapter, and it does continue on from chapter 14, where we found out about what happened to the Akatsuki clan and Kane's personal experience from it. He was about Ko's current age back then when his entire family got wiped out, and it got wiped out by a bunch of humans who one pretended to be a fiance for his sister, who was really happy to fall in love with this gentleman, and they were going to the wedding. And it was during the wedding, when the entire guard of the Akatsuki clan was down, that the humans took that opportunity to kill them. And of course, Kane's sister was killed by her fiance. And so this left an extremely painful memory in Kane's past. And so this is Kane's explanation for why he has so much hatred and so much vengeance to the human race. But of course, this was a good point to show the difference between, for example, Kane and Shin and Ko. Ko and Shin, of course, also had their parents killed. In this case, it was with vampires. But they didn't get into any sort of vengeance to the entire vampire community. And of course, for characters like Alice or Kiri and Kiri's mother, they're very close to them. And so there is a choice that each one of these characters can make. Sure, they could not control the massacre that they experienced, but after that point, whether they decide to hate on a general group of people or not was determined by that character. So Shin's comment was, you can't use that as an excuse to say that you were forced to do so. Everybody has that choice, and it was your choice to go ahead and blame the entire human race. And Aki, that little girl that was killed, had nothing to do with the massacre at Akatsuki. And so Shin, of course, didn't let him go on that. And it's during that point that, of course, we meet all these characters. And we find out that these are at least one of the human restrainers, right? The vampire hunters. And they call their group Fenrir, from the name of the dog that comes out in the Norse mythology during Ragnarok. You know, the one that supposedly is supposed to kill Odin. But in any case, I'm not exactly sure why they call themselves Fenrir, but that's their name. And the things that come out in this chapter is a relatively standard cliche of, yeah, we're not nice people, and let me show you how not nice we are sort of actions occurred in this chapter. What was interesting, though, is that there was another character then that came out at the very end. And of course, this is a cliffhanger because we're never introduced to exactly who this character is. We just see in the final scene that this character came out. Now what's interesting is Shin said that voice when he heard the comments from this final character, which seems to indicate that he recognized the voice. I'm not exactly sure if that's what he meant, but if it is, then he actually knows this character. And so is this another vampire that's a friend of Shin's. But if you look at the character, he's wearing a dark suit similar to Haiga and Kane. And so is this another surviving member of the Akatsuki clan, potentially a senior vampire? In which case it will be interesting to see, are all of the Akatsuki clan now in a major hatred to the humans? And in this case, although he may not be hating on all the humans like Kane does, I would assume, and I wouldn't blame him for hating on these new groups of vampire hunters, Fenrir, because one, they're vampire hunters, so they're much more associated with the group that killed the Akatsuki clan, but two, they went and immediately attacked and injured Kane and Haiga without any reason for provocation. And so if that's the case, and if he is a senior member of the Akatsuki clan, I would presume that in the next chapter, he is going to show us just how powerful he is by beating the crap out of this Fenrir group. Now, we don't know exactly how strong this Fenrir group is. They seem to be dominating the fight in this chapter, but it's after Shinko, Kane, and Haiga were all injured by battling each other. So maybe they were waiting for all of these characters to fight each other, get weakened, and then come in. In which case, if this new guy is very strong, then he may not have too much problems taking these guys out. I don't think he'll kill them because of the fact that they just got introduced, and I got a feeling that they'll get away and then come back another day, right? But anyway, that was a very interesting chapter. We just got a little bit more expansion of the world by being introduced to the human faction that hunts vampires, as well as another mysterious character, which we'll probably find out more about in the future. But anyway, that's Bokura no Ketsumei, or Our Blood Oath, Chapter 15. And once again, I'll leave a link to the chapter on the publisher's official website where they're showing it for free for a few weeks, at least to the North American audience. Okay, that's about it. And I'll continue to upload new chapters as they come out. And I hope you join me at that time. And until the next episode, happy manga reading, and as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone.